Maria often found herself lost in the rhythm of her daily life, her mind a whirlwind of chores, schedules, and the myriad demands of raising 3 children. Among them, Noah, her eldest, had always been a source of pride. He was bright, responsible, and seemed to embody the aspirations she held for her family. Yet, beneath his calm exterior, there was a flicker of something that Maria couldn't quite grasp, a shadow that lingered in his eyes during moments of silence. It was as if he carried an unspoken weight, hidden beneath layers of laughter and teenage bravado. Before we delve deeper into Noah's story, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel. Your support means the world to us and is the only way to ensure that these poignant narratives reach more hearts. Together, we can foster understanding and compassion through stories that matter. So please subscribe now. As the days rolled on, Maria's routine brought her to the familiar task of tidying Noah's room. It was a ritual she often performed, one that allowed her to sneak a glimpse into his world. She'd find remnants of his childhood scattered among the remnants of his teenage years. Action figures tucked away in drawers, a well-worn baseball glove perched on a shelf, and posters of his favorite bands plastered across the walls. Each item told a story, a fragment of the boy he once was. But as she sorted through the clutter, she couldn't shake the feeling that her son was slipping away from her grasp. On this particular day, while shuffling through his belongings, her fingers brushed against something unexpected, a small, leather-bound diary tucked under his bed. The spine was slightly worn, the cover bearing faint scratches, indicating it had been there for quite some time. Curious, Maria picked it up, assuming it was just another teenage journal filled with musings about school, friends, and fleeting crushes. With a sigh, she set it aside, intending to return it once she finished cleaning. Yet, as she continued her chores, the diary lingered in her mind. What thoughts could possibly be inside? A flicker of curiosity ignited within her, compelling her to open it later that evening. The decision felt trivial, yet something whispered that it was a choice she wouldn't soon forget. That night, as the house settled into an almost palpable silence, Maria found herself alone in the comfort of her living room, the soft glow of a lamp illuminating the pages of Noah's diary. She hesitated for a moment, her heart pounding with anticipation. With each turn of the page, she was drawn deeper into a world she had never fully understood, a world filled with words that revealed the intricate, sometimes painful, tapestry of her son's mind. Noah's entries were unlike anything she had expected. They were raw and haunting, revealing his innermost fears and insecurities. He wrote about feeling invisible at school, a ghost among his peers. The pressure to excel weighed heavily on his shoulders, a burden he felt he could never lift. With every word, Maria's heart sank further. It was as if she were uncovering a hidden truth that had been right before her eyes. His thoughts danced around the idea of a different Noah, a version of himself that was confident, loved, and free from the shackles of expectation. As she read on, she realized he had crafted entire scenarios in which he could escape the confines of reality, a place where he felt seen and valued. It struck her how profoundly lonely he must feel, trapped in a life where his struggles remained largely unacknowledged. Time slipped away unnoticed as Maria continued to read. Each entry felt like a revelation, unraveling the fabric of the life they shared, exposing the gaps that had formed between them. She felt a wave of guilt wash over her, the realization that she had been so caught up in her daily routines that she hadn't noticed the signs of Noah's struggle. The vibrant boy she thought she knew was shrouded in a veil of sadness that she had been blind to all along. As the pages turned, the weight of her son's pain settled heavily on her chest. She felt a mix of emotions: anger at herself for not recognizing the signs, sadness for the loneliness he endured, and an overwhelming urge to reach out and comfort him. The night deepened, and Maria's mind raced with thoughts of how to bridge this chasm between them, how to reassure him that it was okay to be vulnerable. Finally, as she closed the diary, Maria made a silent vow to herself. She would confront Noah, not with anger or blame, but with compassion and understanding. She would admit her own failings as a mother, and let him know that he was never alone. The emotions swirled inside her, a tempest of hope and fear. But one thing was clear: something had to change. In the quiet of the night, as the stars twinkled outside, Maria prepared herself for the conversation that would alter the course of their relationship. She envisioned Noah's face, the way his eyes lit up when he spoke about his passions, and felt a surge of determination. She would not let her son navigate this darkness alone any longer. Tomorrow would mark the beginning of a new chapter for both of them, one where understanding, empathy, and connection would take center stage, illuminating the path ahead. With that, she drifted into sleep, her heart heavy yet hopeful, knowing that the journey to healing was just beginning. The morning sun filtered through the curtains, casting warm rays across the room. Yet Maria felt a chill as she rose. Today was the day she would confront Noah, a day filled with uncertainty, but also with hope. She moved through her morning routine mechanically, the aroma of coffee wafting through the air, the cheerful sounds of her younger children echoing through the house. But amidst the usual morning chaos, her thoughts remained anchored on the diary and the revelations it contained. As she prepared breakfast, she replayed in her mind the moments she had taken for granted, the shared laughter, the casual conversations about school. Each of them now felt tinged with a bittersweet layer of regret. Had she truly listened? Had she been present for Noah when he needed her the most? The weight of these questions settled heavily upon her, but she pushed them aside, focusing on finding the right words for their upcoming conversation. The clatter of silverware and the chatter of her younger children filled the kitchen, a stark contrast to the turmoil within her. When Noah finally joined them, his presence seemed to draw the air out of the room. He was dressed casually, his hair tousled as if he had just rolled out of bed. Maria noticed the subtle shadows under his eyes, and her heart ached. She wanted to reach out, to envelop him in her arms and shield him from the world, but she knew that this moment required more than just comfort. It required honesty. "Good morning, sweetheart," she said, trying to keep her voice light. Noah mumbled a reply, his gaze drifting toward the cereal box as he poured himself a bowl. The silence that followed felt heavy, charged with the unspoken words that lingered just beneath the surface. After breakfast, Maria decided that it was time. She found Noah in the living room, his attention glued to his phone, the glow of the screen illuminating his features. She hesitated for a moment, gathering her thoughts, then approached him, her heart racing. "Can we talk for a minute?" she asked gently. Noah glanced up surprised. He nodded, setting his phone aside, but the look in his eyes revealed a mix of curiosity and apprehension. She took a deep breath, feeling the weight of her resolve. "Sit with me," she said, gesturing to the couch. As he settled down beside her, she felt the distance between them, the unspoken words and hidden emotions that had accumulated over time. She needed to bridge that gap. "I found something yesterday," she began, her voice steady yet soft. "Your diary." The words hung in the air, and she watched as Noah's expression shifted, a flicker of vulnerability passing through his eyes. He started, but she raised her hand gently, urging him to let her speak. "I want you to know that I opened it, and I read what you wrote. I'm so sorry, Noah. I didn't realize how much you were struggling." The confession tumbled out of her, raw and unfiltered, and she could see the walls he had built around himself beginning to crack. For a moment, silence enveloped them. Noah's gaze dropped to his hands, the tension palpable. Maria felt the urgency to fill the quiet, to reassure him that he was safe to express his feelings. "I didn't know," she continued, her voice trembling slightly. "I thought you were okay. I thought you were happy. But you're not, and I should have seen it. I'm sorry for not being there for you, for not noticing sooner." Noah's expression remained unreadable, but Maria could see the battle waging within him. He was processing her words, perhaps grappling with his own emotions. She wanted to reach out, to pull him into an embrace, but she held back, allowing him the space to navigate his feelings. "You don't have to say anything if you don't want to," she offered, her heart aching for him. "But I want you to know that whatever you're feeling, it's okay. You don't have to carry it alone. I'm here, and I want to help." At last, Noah shifted, his shoulders relaxing, just a fraction as he met her gaze. "I didn't want you to worry," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. I thought if I acted like everything was fine, you wouldn't have to deal with it." Maria's heart broke at his words. He had been trying to protect her, and in doing so, he had only deepened his own isolation. "Noah, you don't have to protect me. I'm your mom. I want to be there for you, no matter what. You can tell me anything." He took a deep breath, the vulnerability in his eyes surfacing as he finally spoke. "It's just everything feels too much sometimes. School, friends. I feel like I'm always trying to be someone I'm not. I thought I could just get through it," but his voice trailed off, and Maria could see the tears glistening in his eyes. "You're not alone in this," she said, her voice steady. "I felt lost too at times. Everyone does. It's okay to feel overwhelmed. It's okay to be sad. We all have our struggles, and I want you to know that you can talk to me about anything." As the words hung in the air, a shift occurred. Noah's defenses slowly crumbled, and he began to open up more. He spoke about the pressure he felt to excel, the loneliness that crept in when he was surrounded by others, and how he often felt like he was living in a shadow. As he shared his thoughts, Maria listened intently, her heart swelling with empathy and understanding. The conversation flowed naturally, each revelation a step closer to healing. Maria shared her own experiences, the challenges of motherhood, and the fears and insecurities she faced in her own life. It was a moment of connection, two souls navigating the complexities of life together. If this story is touching your heart, make sure to comment from where you are hearing this amazing story, she thought, wanting to encourage others to share their own stories and struggles. As they spoke, Maria felt a warmth bloom in her chest, the realization that this was the beginning of a new chapter for both of them. They were not just mother and son. They were allies, navigating the tumultuous waters of adolescence and mental health together. She could see the weight lifting from Noah's shoulders as he shared his burdens, and it filled her with hope. The sunlight poured through the window, illuminating the room, and for the first time in what felt like ages, Maria could see the flicker of hope in Noah's eyes. They sat together, both vulnerable yet strengthened by their honesty, ready to face the challenges ahead together. As they sat together, a sense of peace enveloped the room, the atmosphere transformed by their newfound honesty. Noah looked at Maria, his eyes glistening with unshed tears, and for the first time, she could see a glimmer of the boy she had known. The weight of his struggle seemed lighter now, shared between them, and she felt a surge of gratitude for this moment of connection. "I didn't know how to tell you," he admitted, his voice trembling slightly. "I was afraid you'd be disappointed or think I was weak." Maria shook her head gently. "You're not weak for feeling this way, Noah. Everyone has their battles, and it takes real strength to face them and to talk about them. I wish I had known sooner. I would have done everything I could to help you." The vulnerability in Noah's voice struck a chord in Maria's heart. It reminded her of the time she had felt overwhelmed by her own responsibilities, of the moments when she had felt lost in the chaos of life. "You're allowed to feel overwhelmed," she said softly. "You're allowed to lean on me. You don't have to carry everything alone." He nodded slowly, the tension in his shoulders easing as he continued to open up. "Sometimes I just feel like I'm not good enough, like I have to be perfect all the time, and when I'm not, I feel like I'm failing." Maria reached out, placing her hand on his knee. "No one expects you to be perfect. You're human, just like the rest of us. What matters is that you try, and if you stumble, that's okay. We're here to pick each other up." As they talked, the walls that had once separated them began to crumble, revealing the raw, beautiful bond between mother and son. Noah shared stories of his struggles at school, the moments when he felt invisible, and how he longed for someone to see him. Maria listened intently, her heart aching for the pain he had endured in silence. "I always thought I had to keep everything together," Noah said, his voice barely above a whisper. "But it's exhausting. I just want to feel, free, I guess. Like I can be myself without worrying about what everyone else thinks." "Then let's work on that together," Maria replied, her tone earnest. "You don't have to hide who you are. You are loved for exactly who you are, not for any achievements or expectations." We can find ways to help you feel more at ease with yourself." The conversation continued to flow, each shared thought weaving them closer together. Maria felt a warmth in her chest, an overwhelming sense of relief that she had finally peeled back the layers of Noah's guarded heart. For the first time, she felt truly connected to him, ready to support him in ways she hadn't before. "I want to help you find ways to cope with everything," she said, her voice filled with determination. "We can talk to someone if you want, or we can figure out new ways to manage stress together. Whatever you need, I'm here." Noah looked at her, his expression softening. "I'd like that. I think I need help more than I've let on." "Then let's take that step together," Maria assured him, her heart swelling with pride. "We'll figure it out one day at a time." As their conversation began to wind down, a sense of hope settled between them. They had ventured into the depths of each other's hearts, and through that vulnerability, they discovered resilience. Noah smiled for the first time, a genuine smile that lit up his face, and Maria felt her own heart lift in response. "Thank you for listening, Mom," he said, his voice steadier now. "I really appreciate it." "Thank you for trusting me," she replied, her eyes shining with emotion. "I promise to do better moving forward. We're a team, remember?" "Yeah, a team," Noah echoed, a flicker of relief washing over him. As they sat there, the sunlight streaming through the window, both mother and son knew that they had crossed a threshold. The shadows that had once loomed large seemed to shrink, replaced by a growing bond forged in understanding and empathy. This was just the beginning of their journey together, a journey built on open communication, love, and the unwavering belief that they could face whatever challenges lay ahead. In the days that followed, Maria noticed a change in Noah. He was still navigating the complexities of adolescence, but there was a lightness in his demeanor, a newfound willingness to engage with her and share his thoughts. They spent more time together, whether it was cooking dinner, going for walks, or simply talking about their days. Each moment felt precious, a reminder that they were rebuilding their relationship, one conversation at a time. Noah also became more open about his feelings with his siblings, encouraging them to express themselves. He had begun to understand that vulnerability was not a sign of weakness, but a bridge to deeper connections, and he wanted to foster that within his family. Maria watched with pride as he shared his struggles and triumphs with his younger siblings, creating an environment of support and understanding. One evening, as they gathered around the dinner table, laughter and chatter filled the air. Maria looked around at her children, her heart swelling with gratitude. Noah was animatedly recounting a story from school, his eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. In that moment, Maria realized how far they had come together, how the act of confronting pain had transformed into a celebration of resilience and connection. Later that night, as she tucked Noah into bed, Maria paused at the door, her heart full. "Good night, sweetheart. Remember, I'm always here for you." "Good night, Mom," Noah replied, a smile gracing his lips as he settled into his pillow. "Thanks for everything." As she closed the door gently, Maria felt a sense of peace wash over her. They had embarked on a journey together, one that had uncovered hidden truths and fostered an unbreakable bond. She knew that there would be challenges ahead, but now they faced them together, armed with love, understanding, and the unwavering belief that they could navigate the stormy seas of life side by side. And as the night settled in, Maria felt the warmth of hope surrounding her, knowing that love could illuminate even the darkest corners of the heart. It was a new beginning, a testament to the power of family, and a promise that they would never again have to face their struggles alone.